are your thoughts on them getting on LinkedIn and speaking out on social topics and picking sides on hot issues and making comments on things? What are your thoughts on that? Should they, shouldn't they? What should, if the, what, just in general, what's your thoughts?
I was actually reading one of our client's books the other day, and I thought he said it really, really well. And they're a very ethics, societal driven company, where he said, I think your place as a founder is to get behind policies, but not speak to politics. And I think they were speaking very, very pointedly about, things like AI, gene editing. I mean, you're talking about things that if you don't get ahead of the policy ethically, where are you going with society? And I thought that really summed up where I'm at on how founders should use their voice in the platform. As someone, especially if you have a business in a certain industry, you should be a part of the conversation with policy and policy makers and educating them, because we're always going to move faster as private sector companies, and the government probably is. But getting into the politics game, virtue signaling, that can also have adverse effects and cost you big time in the long run. And so I really liked that. I think keep it to the policies, especially when there's a direct inline with your company and the products that you're putting out. But getting into politics, while you may get into the slipstream and ride the coattails of like big trending media topics, usually in my experience, not a good long-term play for you. If you're not really fully committed to, I have a real commitment to the policy and doing what I believe is in the best interest as it goes to the policy, and not playing to one side or the other.
Good. Okay. I like that. I was thinking about this coming back from my recent camping trip. I live in Colorado, so I go up to the mountains all the time, but I was coming back from a recent camping trip, and I was putting my Yeti cooler away in the garage. I was unloading stuff, and I was putting my Yeti cooler away, and I thought, here's a good example. This is a good product. I like the product. I'm happy with the product. I would buy another Yeti. I think it works great. I'd even give them a recommendation. I have no idea what the CEO thinks about anything, and I have no idea what the company cause is or the mission statement. And frankly, I don't care.
Right. Sure. It's keeping the hot drinks hot and the cool drinks cool. It's really all I need to know.
I was thinking about that. I was like, all I care about is my beer is cold for 2 days while I'm up there. That's really that's all I care about. But then I thought, well, should I care? Like, should I go on the website and check to see what their cause and mission is? Maybe I should be more into it. I don't know. I was kind of questioning myself, but so I was battling that topic in my head, right? Like, maybe I feel guilty about not knowing. I don't know.
It's interesting. I think everybody, especially in 2021, I mean, I'm going to say something and you all will take it how you hear it, but I think we also can give ourselves some grace. I think a lot of us feel like, unless you are doing the deep research, looking at everything to the nth degree, you are a terrible person who is contributing to the demise of society. And if that is your story, this is where like personal development and therapy is probably coming into play here. Like, I would argue, even if you're making the right choice, like, that's just not a healthy way to navigate life. And so when you know better, you do better. If tomorrow we hear, a story and the Yeti guy is just, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing terrible things, right? Yeah. He or she, they are just really not a good person. Then I mean, I'd question if we continued to buy Yetis. By the way, they have like this store in Austin, Texas, and it is like a whole Yeti bar. Oh, it is like an experience. It is full on immersive Yeti experience. I was taken away with it.
Cool.
But then but I mean, also, we're trying to run businesses. We're trying to make sure our kids are doing, it's just a lot of pressure to put on yourself. Yes. And I think that there needs to be grace as well. There needs to be grace for yourself and for others, or else we're just going to continue down this very, very divisive path that is a lose-lose for everybody involved.
That's why, and I do feel like that, and I want to switch topics. I do feel that way. I feel like every single topic is trying to force people to always pick a side. And then when you pick a side, they try to make you hate the other side. It's like, no,
You know what?
you don't have to
Yeah.
do that, do we? Yeah, yeah.
We're recording this on September 14th. I think what was extremely relevant to what you just said was my experience of watching social media on September 11th, this past Saturday, the 20-year anniversary. You know, living in New York, you just have, I mean, I wasn't in New York when the attacks happened. I was outside of DC, which was also, you know, very impactful. I had a number of friends whose parents worked at the Pentagon, and we were all, you know, dismissed from school and calls were made. But I did notice that on social there was, and maybe I was asserting some of this, but there was a very, I just felt like, okay, September 11th is probably the one thing is like Americans, like it's not really divisive to honor 3,000 some people who have died. Right. I mean, 3,000 people of all backgrounds, just like truly America, like every kind of person died in September 11th. And I read this post that Amanda Gorman, the poet who, you know, read it, the inauguration this year, she posted and was like, it isn't like, you don't have to be one or the other. You know, you can remember and grieve to great degrees the people who died and who ran towards the danger in September 11th, while also holding space for, there was an uptick in attacks on, you know, Muslims after that. You might not have agreed with the war that was gotten into after that. I mean, that's all fine and good, but to polarize the loss of 3,000 American lives, like that's where, to your point, it like feels like everything is just like, here it is. It's either black or it is white, and you better, or it is A or it is B, and you better like pick your thing. There's and versus or, I think is the word like we could all very much lean into like at this time.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to use that down at the tavern next time one of my buddies is trying to get me to argue about a topic. I would be like, hey, man, it's and, it's not or. I like it.
And it's not or. These things are, that's one part where I sometimes question myself, Steve, on like, am I contributing to the demise? My business is in social media.
Right.
And I would say that, you know, we're talking about nuanced topics that every person's life experience has 16 different intersectionalities and inputs to it, but you want to jam it into a 2,000 character thesis statement and then, you know, really get on your high horse about how well did I put somebody else in their place. And that's the part of social media that when I look at the long range impacts of my business, I always want to invite and stand in the and never just create posts, you were saying earlier, for likes and engagement, because I know I can do the short play of a polarizing post. And we find that our authors and clients are and people. They don't want just to be on a hot button topic for vanity metrics. They're really invested in the long-term dialogue of society and how people are impacted and giving grace and space to all of that. And so to the best of my ability in my very limited way, that's where I try and hold my like North Star and ethical compass on our business is, are we working with people who are promoting an opening dialogue or trying to just talk to people, not with people?
I love it. I love it, Kate.